right, good evening, Gopher fans, and welcome back to another episode of Sky U Pod, your college huddle Golden Gopher football podcast. Your Golden Gophers are now 5-2 after a dominant Friday night victory over Nebraska. But now, as we shift to hate week, the focus goes to the Iowa Hawkeyes. We play Saturday at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa. Very difficult place to play for college football, but it still gets us excited. Max, Kurt, how you both doing?
Doing good. Yeah, glad to be 5-2, and hope we can keep things rolling down to Iowa City.
Yeah, I'm doing good, Shuddy. Back home, I want to say Gophers were 2-0 in my time in Florida there. And so I think it's now obligated of me to move to Florida when I retire someday and just watch the Gophers return to glory and back-to-back natties. Yeah, no, I'm doing good. Watching that Nebraska game just really made it easier to get up and leave Saturday morning, just being pumped up, getting ready to come back home, talk some Gopher football. And yeah, it is hate week. And I want to bring up this thing, lead off with this. The Kirk Ferentz post game presser, maybe it was to preview this week, but there's a presser he did where he got a little teary eyed talking about him putting his team in a bad spot when did you see Iowa? They attempted a 67-yard field goal against Penn State, and it just got, I mean, it looked like when I play basketball with my nephews and you just smack the ball back like, 100 feet. That's basically what they did to the football and just picked it up, housed it. Anyway, and I see all these Iowa fans and stuff giving Ferentz props for like, that's cool, man. Like showing your, like, if PJ shed a tear ever talking about his guys, it would be trending on Twitter for like 10 days in the state of Iowa, Wisconsin, Nebraska, all these places. Like they would never let it go. So I'm just saying, Kirk Ferentz, you're a great coach. That was a little soft. All right. You got all these great wins. Sack up and move on without crying.
Well, and it's one thing if that's like what lost them the game. Like they won.
It was in the first half. Like, move
Yeah.
on, buddy. All right. I just had to start that off since it is Iowa week.
It is hate week, and yes, it's very appropriate. But before we really break down to it, let's kind of just break down some topics here, fellas. Let's talk about Darius Taylor. He's coming off the huge game with 148 rushing yards, eclipses 2,000 career rushing yards, and moves to number 14 all time in Gopher history. He's 302 yards away from being top 10 all time. How do you both think about the improvement that we saw in the ground game on Friday night? And do we think it's going to continue going on for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I'll start. So the improvements in the run game was really it was a little bit of scheme or like plan, I should say. Like we got the running backs just going downhill. Like Max and I had talked about it on the previous episode, how the play action didn't really match up with the run scheme. It looked like we were trying. And it seemed like going back to I formation even a little bit at times, like we just got the running backs going north and south a lot quicker, it seemed. And then we still mixed in outside with zone and stuff like that, which was good. I think that's technically the play I think that Darius broke the long one off on. But yeah, and with getting the backs going downhill, it made the backs not only did the old line execute better and just block those plays better, but it made the backs, I feel like, choose their hole faster. Like early on in the game, he went on to have a great game, like we covered. I thought Darius left a lot out there actually in the first half by being still a little bit too hesitant. But by the second half, he really got in his groove, and so I'm hoping that continues out going forward. That Darius is back to being what we expect and getting, like, maybe not all the 70-yard runs are going to happen obviously all the time, but just being able to lower shoulder and get more of those 4-yard carries that we're going to need to stay in good spots against the chains.
Yeah. No, kind of hit the nail on the head. Yeah, the offensive line played much better, more physical, definitely getting to the second level more. I think, like you said, you even saw it on that Darius Taylor in that long run. I think there was a couple offensive linemen that you could see running downfield, getting blocks at the next level, which we hadn't seen much of at all. And yeah, I think PJ kind of talked about too some of the scheme changes they made, trying to get better angles, and it definitely helped lead to faster developing plays, holes opening up faster, and seems like once Darius settled in, he was able to have a great night. And I'm glad we still saw Boy mixed in there as well. It seems like we kind of have to have a guy who can be in there as kind of a change up and give Darius a break every once in a while, even though we didn't do it at the very end of the game, which is puzzling,
Right.
but not something we're surprised with, I guess, at this point. But yeah, I mean, it's good to see. It's good to see it's finally coming along. I feel like we've been harping on it, and it just got to continue. Like that can't be the peak, and then we regress. Like it's got to continue to evolve, continue to move in the right direction. But this is a good test this week against a really tough Iowa defense.
Two things really quick, and I'll throw it to you, Shuddy. I still think Feme can get thrown in there sooner. I don't know if he had a carry in the first half, did he? It was a long time before he got his first touch. And here's how I think, I keep changing my views on this, but I think Feme is like the safer 4 to 5 yard back. Like he's just tougher. Well, I shouldn't say tougher, but he just seems to really be a physical runner and move the pile every time. And Darius, I mean, to his credit, sometimes it works out great. Like, he is always like maybe better overall vision at times at finding like the big play hole. You know what I mean? So I feel like almost Feme could still be like the first down, get 5 yards, and then it's Darius time, if that makes sense. But I know you got to mix it up, and you're not going to just bring him in every down. The second thing, to your point, Max, of keeping it rolling, last year, the offensive line, it's like every time they had a great performance, I think back to Illinois, which was probably their best blocking performance of the season as far as running the ball. They followed it up with Rutgers, where they no-showed the whole game. So that was kind of leading into my point. Should I want to get your thoughts? Does this feel different to you at all yet on the offensive line as far as like fixing things, or do you need to see more games to make sure it's kind of not an up and down thing like we saw a lot of the time last year?
Yeah, that was going to be kind of my point here. I do think we need to see a little bit more. Um, they looking back at against Nebraska, they let up one sack, which was great. We definitely won the sack game, which was huge all night. But 186 total rushing yards is great. This is the game. That was the game you wanted to finally see something going. But the first half, it seemed like they were a little anemic and a little slow still. And then finally in the second half, it just looked like they became more physical. It just looked like we started to finally push Nebraska around a little bit up front. And, I just thought that was the difference. The other thing is, our offensive line coach, Brian Callahan, I think the offense, correct me if I'm wrong, fellas, but I think the offensive line was back to the original lineup that he had originally. So this mix and match game that he's been playing stopped there. So I like what I saw last game, obviously, maybe just stick to it. But like
Right.
with that whole mix and match that was going on the previous 2 weeks to going back to your bread and butter this week, and it did get put together nicely. I just got to see it again. And the true test is going to be against these Iowa Hawkeyes, like always. So
Yeah,
I got to admit, I'm not entirely sold yet. However, I am pleased with the jump in improvement last week.
right. Yeah, it's hard to fault them for deciding to experiment a little bit and shuffle up the offensive line based on how they played the first few weeks. Um, but it definitely seemed like when it wasn't getting any better, if not worse, especially against Rutgers and Purdue, teams that you should be dominating up front, doesn't matter where you're playing. It was almost like if it's not going to happen against them, then we just got to put our guys in the best spot that we think they can play, and it seems like that's what they did. It's almost like PJ listens to the show, maybe. I don't know. I think we talked about that last week. Like we hope they just get some continuity and get some consistency, which they seemed to find it last week. It wasn't perfect yet either. Like there was definitely room for improvement. But I think it kind of sets up nicely for you do have the opportunity to go out and prove it against an Iowa team and the Michigan State the following week. It'd be tough if you're playing Iowa and they're right away going to Oregon or having to play uh, Ohio State or something crazy, like automatically have to bring your best effort, and it might not matter against a team like that. Um, so I guess at this point, like I think after this week, I think we'll know more about how we're feeling about the offensive line, and Michigan State will be definitely a big test to say, okay, now what do we do? Can we do it 3 games in a row, or do we have to kind of get back to where we were against Nebraska going into the bye week? Um, but I definitely think after this week, I think we'll have some answers there, I guess.
Yeah, it is interesting how quickly they went to try them at new spots instead of. I don't know. I just felt like the run game just looked a lot different, and obviously a big part of that was to how well the O line played. But yeah, and they said, they said the game script kind of threw them off in some games, which I kind of get. But it's like outside of the Rutgers 14-0, it's not like you were ever like out of it. They felt like they
Right.
probably, if they would have been having success, they probably would have stuck with the run game a little bit more. But um, yeah, I do want to like say not like, and we touched on this. And I know you guys aren't not giving the O-line credit, but like you said, like they were struggling against everybody. So to come back, and I know Rutgers or Nebraska's rush defense was like 84th or something like that in the country, but to come back and like physically dominate, it's like it doesn't matter how easy the test was. Like you got like 100% on it. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't have really done
Right.
much else. They dominated from start to finish. So it's definitely encouraging, and it's just enough to give you just a little bit of hope heading into Iowa, who is probably always pretty good in the trenches.
Right.
Right.
And I think it's fair too to say Nebraska definitely didn't play their best game, but like we just said, for us, if we're just grading the Gophers on what they've done this year, it hasn't mattered who the opponent was or how
Right.
they played. We have not performed the way that we needed to. So obviously Nebraska not playing their best helped, but I think we saw improvement. Even if they did play more physical or play better defense, I feel like we
Right.
still would have had a similar outcome.
Yeah, it didn't feel like Nebraska had like this talent gap that all their fans were telling us about.
Right.
So, and I
Right.
got it. Like I thought their receivers were going to be way more of a factor, but I mean, we just beat the
Yeah.
crap out of them up front, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah. Well, with that, fellas, let's go ahead and break down the Iowa Hawkeye game. Let's start offense. Iowa offense. I don't have it in front of me right now, but let's see.
They run the ball.
They run the ball, yeah. So they're like they're kind of like one of the service academies, right? They they're averaging only 131 passing yards per game, which is 130th nationally. So that's good, I guess. But Gronowski, right, is
Mm-hmm.
their quarterback, and I think he's pretty good on his legs. I guess he has to be. But Kamari Moulton, uh, guy's pretty good. 289 rushing yards, 10 touchdowns.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think he missed some time earlier too, so I think his stats would have been up even more.
right. Um, Against Penn State, 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. And we know that Penn State has kind of fallen off a cliff a little bit, but nevertheless, they do have some talented players there, and to be able to rack up those yards is impressive. So, yeah, like you said, Kurt, running the ball is their strong suit. It seems like we haven't done the greatest protecting against the run, and I think it's really going to start up front defensively. But other than that, if we can just stop the run, it could be probably like a what year was that? 2 years ago, 2023 esque sort of game where it's just
12-10.
12-10 solid defenses, stop the run, don't let anything get through the air, and
Yeah,
call it a day.
I do want to say like, and I know you know this, but it's like saying you're going to stop the running. They have arguably a top two, top three offensive line in the Big Ten. Like I'm not as far as running the ball, they might have the best Oregon's pretty good too. But they're up there. They have one of the best O-lines in the conference, maybe the country. So saying you're going to come out like, yeah, if we just stop the run, I hope so. Like that to me, that's the game, right? Like, and you mentioned Gronkowski, like, this Gopher defense, their rush lanes are going to be crucial. That's something they really cleaned up for Nebraska. I know Raiola got out of some sacks a couple of times, but we pressured them 24 times. You got 9 of them because you stayed disciplined in your pass rush. Where we got the same amount of pressures against Purdue. We got like 25 pressures against Purdue and no sacks because we didn't contain Brown. Now Gronowski's a different runner altogether. He runs more, honestly, kind of like a running back out there. He's more of a bigger body, tougher to bring down. Got some giddy up though. Like he's gonna outrun your D lineman, but he's not as fast as Brown or I'm trying to think of a mobile quarterback right now out there. He's not even
Aiden
quite
Childs.
Yeah, thank you. He's not Aiden Childs out there, but he is like a running back running the football, so you got to bring it when you're coming up to hit him. To me, we never do this in the Fleck era, I feel like. We're going to start out in base. Here is what it comes down to. I want to see us put 8 guys in the box and just dare them to throw. And yeah, they're going to try some quick hitters, and they got that Wet Gen receiver. Is it Wet Gen? Something like that? Weegen.
Yeah.
Okay. I know he's a great returner, super fast, speedy guy. They'll try and get him involved on sweeps and bubble screens and stuff like that. So they're going to try some quick hitters, but I would just play up, and if Gronowski beats you by throwing 4 deep touchdowns on you, so be it. I would rather know that he didn't kill me with his legs and that we slowed down the rushing attack, or at least did everything we could to slow down the rushing attack. Hopefully, we bring a little bit of what we saw against Nebraska. We don't have to load up the box to necessarily do that all the time, but and I would hit the tackling drill again because we tackled really well against Nebraska, and that's going to be critical. Like I would keep doing that. If it's not broke, don't fix it, right? And so I would run that again, and because it's going to be critical. Like we saw the second half last year against these guys. Caleb Johnson got one-on-one with DBs far too often, and when it did, they bounced off of them or barely got a hand on them. So critical to have good tackles in your secondary and second layer and third layer defenders coming up and stopping those 5-yard gains at 5-10 and not letting them get to 20 to 80. So
yeah, no, I agree. I would like us to dare Mark Gronowski to throw the football. He can be effective through the air, like you said, in the short passing game, but it seems like hitting guys on the run or throwing anything further than 10 yards, accuracy does become an issue. And he does. I mean, he's got a rushing touchdown, I think, in every single game so far this year. And like you talked about, Spence, Iowa is running the ball basically 60% of the time. And for the numbers they're putting up, it's almost more impressive when you pair it with their passing numbers that have not been good at all. Because it's like no team is surprised that they're going to come out and run the football, and they're still doing it effectively. Just with their offensive line, and yeah, Kamari Moulton being that kind of physical but still shifty enough runner to make some guys miss at the same time. Like, it's really no secret what they're going to try to do. I mean, they've had back-to-back games of 200 yards rushing. That's against Penn State and Wisconsin, 2 pretty solid defenses. Even though Wisconsin is having the year they're having, it's still a Wisconsin defense. And then to do it against Penn State, which again kind of had a drop off after the whole James Franklin situation, but that's still Penn State's defense. So yeah, I mean they're gonna try to win it on the ground. It's really gonna be up to us to make them throw the football. They are prone to some turnovers when they do try to throw it. I don't know that their receivers are all that great at creating separation, or some of the interceptions you see are just a ball off a guy's hands. It gets tipped and the safety's there to pick it off. So our guys got to be ready to make some plays. And like you said, the tackling is going to have to continue to get better for what Iowa lacks in guys that are fast and shifty. They make up for in their physicality. Like they're going to be coming straight at you. You're going to have a tougher time getting off blocks. So all of what you said is head on.
One thing I don't think Iowa's getting credit for is that I know everyone likes to poke fun at Iowa for not scoring. In Big Ten conference play, you can rip the opponents that they've had to go up against so far, but they're averaging over 28 points per game. And even the other Iowa teams that won and the offense was ugly, they weren't doing that. So the offense is scoring points. And even if it's not through the air, like Gronowski, I didn't write it down, but he's got like 3 passing touchdowns and 10 rushing touchdowns. I think he's got like 13 of their 20 touchdowns on the year or something like that. He's got a huge percentage. So in the goal line, he runs it in all the time. They like use the back, and it's obviously very hard to stop because he's been able to do it against everybody. I just, the game plan is kind of simple, but it's also tough because of how good they are at running the ball.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're disciplined too. Like they're not going to take
Right.
penalties. They're not going to make dumb mistakes either.
Exactly. And I think it's just it's just your typical Iowa football team that we've seen over the past, I don't know, seems like 10 years or so. And like offensively, like you said it, Max, like they are disciplined. They will have a game plan and they will execute it. That's just what they do. And it seems like Ferentz will always get them ready to beat the Gophers at like whatever game he wants them to do. It's been like the same story year after year after year. And particularly the wrinkle that I always think that happens in this game is the tight end involvement. For some reason, every time we play the Hawkeyes, they are able to get open passes and looks to their tight end. So that's something that I don't know why it hasn't been figured out yet, but like, like on those pass plays, maybe like get Coy or a safety just kind of one-on-one or something with their tight end to just kind of contest those passes. They're not going to be like amazing throws and catches. It's usually just like a little pop pass or something, or a little bubble out to the tight end that makes a long play or something. Like I don't know, but that's one other thing.
Tight ends, and they've found ways to get them like just wide open against
wide open.
It's one thing. It's not that all those guys couldn't make the contested catches. It's just like for whatever reason we always lost them in coverage, even though those are like their main guys. I don't know if that's necessarily been the case this year. It doesn't sound like they're throwing the ball to anybody really. So, but yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying. They always have like one huge play up for the tight end against us.
Yeah, so we'll see. Ultimately, it's just going to be classic Big Ten football. When playing the offense, you just got to get tough up front. Like you said, Kurt, if we can load up the box too against them, I feel like they didn't do that last year for some reason.
Right.
But yeah.
No, we just sat back 2 safeties high and let them run it on us all second half. It's like, can we just try like loading the box? And we never did. Right. So we'll see.
Right.
I have one question for you guys before we move on from this. How do you think it's imperative just with the physicality of Iowa and us not rotating as many D linemen in that we get a takeaway or two in this game?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah. I do.
Especially because
you need to turn them over if you're going to get a win. At least one huge one that like it gets us the ball right in their red zone or something like that.
And we can't turn the ball over.
Right.
You need to win the margin for sure.
Yeah. And especially because our depth at D line is like our speed rushing package. Like we don't have another Devin Eastern. We have a Rashawn Lawrence who's in there to just like split the gap and try to get to the quarterback.
No,
we don't have any big cloggers.
It's
right,
just,
exactly.
Yeah, he's not going to take on 2 Iowa guards.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's another, I guess, thing too, like just the health in our secondary. I mean, I don't know what happened to John Nestor last week, why he couldn't play. I hope we get him back this week.
John Nestor revenge game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And not that pass coverage is going to be all that important, but like we need everyone to be tackling this game.
Oh, yeah. Hey, one of the biggest injuries last year was not having Justin Wally to come up and make tackles in the run game. It was huge.
Yeah.
So Gooseby was back last week, which was great. I thought he quietly had a very nice game, took care of business. Yeah, man. John Nestor, you're a white corner and you get told at the portal at Iowa. That's Wow, that's asking
That's
for
gotta
bad
sting.
revenge coming back the other way. So I'm excited to see what he does in this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
He's probably going to be pretty juiced up. I don't think he's got to worry about anyone really getting behind him unless he's one-on-one with the speedster receiver.
Right.
Right.
What is
Right.
the Weejen? What's his
Yeah.
name?
I think it's just Weejan. Caden
Okay.
Weejan. Cade?
I always say
Caden?
wet. I always say Wetjen. I don't know.
That's not
Maybe
it.
he's okay.
I don't
Well, that
think.
guy
Yeah.
is fast. Other than that,
He is.
lineup's
Yeah, I will be
wild.
curious what they do. Like, will they just kind of, do you spy him with like Coy? Because he's not like a
The quarterback?
downfield threat. No, Weejan.
Oh, I
Like,
don't
you
think you
just have.
spy him. I think you just are aware of him, and if emotions just start moving up to take away the sweep, I guess. But I
True.
wouldn't spy him. If anyone, I'm spying the quarterback so he doesn't kill you on the
Right.
run. But I honestly like, yeah, I would load the box and just try and get after the quarterback because, like you said, like under pressure, he's thrown some critical interceptions, but it's just trying to beat the O line. It's a great O line again for Iowa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also feels like a big game possibility for Darius Green to just play to his strengths and just get in there and blow some stuff up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if he keeps his eyes in the right spot, because that's how Iowa
Yes.
tricks you. They all of a sudden it's like looking like the same play they just ran 3 times in a row, and all of a sudden, boom, it's like a backdoor cut, and he's off to the races. But yeah, no, they're a very well coached team, and clearly this good transition to the offensive side of the ball. I hope we let Drake take advantage if Iowa's going to start off in zone because he's been so good at it, and I know Iowa, not this year necessarily, but in previous years have been tremendous at turning over the football, getting the ball. But Drake has been consistently your best player on offense, in my opinion. I just think if they're going to come out in zone, and I know they do mix in a lot of man with zone help over the top, but I think you just got to let Drake go to work because I, I I like what the O line showed. I don't think you're going to consistently chunk Iowa 4 to 5 yards of play the whole game and get down the field that way. Like I think Lindsey has the ability to and will need to make some big throws down the field.
Yeah. Uh, the problem too that I have is again, this is your typical solid Iowa defense, but their front guys are pretty good. Their tackle Aaron Graves, defensive ends Max Lilwin and Ethan Herkett. Um, 11 and a half tackles for losses and 8 sacks between both of their defensive ends. So our tackles are going to be busy. And, obviously we finally saw a game that was better up front. But again, this game, it has to be pretty solid. And so one thing I worry about Lindsey is, not being protective at the edges, getting sacked, or, losing the football if you're getting hit on your blind
Right.
side or something. Um, be great if he can get solid protection all night, but I'm almost worried if we're going to have to rely on the short, sort of chippy, step by step moving up the field. But I don't know if that's going to work the whole time against this defense.
I'm scared that PJ thinks the way he won last time is the way to do it every time and just shut down the offense and just run, punt, hope you turn them over twice and kick field goals from their zone and from their side of the field and win it that way. Like, no, like I know Iowa's got a very sound defense, probably the second best D coordinator, if not the first in the conference. I think Patricia's got a pretty good argument for that right now. He's got those and boys cooking over there. But um yeah, you gotta take shots. Like I remember the first year, not the first year, but one of the years, and maybe Nebraska's last one against Iowa, they really hurt them on deep pass plays down the field. And it's like you're allowed to push the ball down the field on Iowa. Like, yeah, you gotta have it well protected and be smart with it, but it's not like they pick off everything, especially not this year, even though two of their best players on defense are their outside corners. So Jalen Smith is somebody that got dinged up and didn't return in the Nebraska game. He wasn't in the injury tent, so his availability is going to be huge. But again, Nebraska had a pretty good secondary too, and it was nice to be able to see us have some place to beat man coverage. We finally ran some slow drags across the field. I really don't know when else we had seen that like all year or last year. It was like crap. They're playing zone coverage or they're not playing zone. We don't have anything for and other than a quick screen. That was it. But
Right.
so we're showing the steps you want to see heading into Iowa again to give you some hope. But it's just another week of having to go out there and do it.
Definitely. Yeah. Iowa, again, no surprise. They're a top 10 defense, and they're very balanced too. Like, it's both in pass coverage and run defense. Like, you look at all the numbers, you look at all the games that they've played. I mean, it's hard to find one glaring weakness, and it's like short yardage situations, third down, fourth down, red zone, deep passes, short passes, run, inside out. Like,
At
they
least they don't
do it
have Jay
well. And
Higgins. Yeah, at least they don't have
right,
Jay Higgins this year, I guess. So like the
that
linebackers are still
scheme's
very good. It just seems like maybe the one spot that's not the normal Iowa. Like they don't have the
right.
superstar there, but they're all really good. And now I say that, and they're
Exactly.
probably going to dominate us because that's how Iowa does it. But like, I just mean like
Right.
I mean it more as a compliment to them in previous years. But I just don't think they have like the Jay Higgins out there, maybe. But
Right.
we'll
Yeah,
see.
that is the difference. They don't have like maybe the horses they used to, but they're still effective. But it will be like
Yeah,
it seems like it's almost that much more important for an offense and for Greg Harbaugh to just find a way to get the ball in your playmakers' hands in space and see if can your guys just outrun them at this like. And it might only happen a couple of times where you get into space and find yourself in open field against this defense or in a short like you said off a turnover. If we've got good field position, it's going to be critical to take advantage of those situations because this defense is very, very stingy. But like you alluded to, Spence, I mean, Drake has been very consistent. Um, I think I looked at he's only thrown one interception in his last 100 pass attempts. So like for as much struggles as this offense has had, I mean, he's still been clicking. I think that one interception that
yeah.
came against Purdue was like we just couldn't get anything going, and he kind of was just forcing some passes into tight coverage. So if the offensive line can play as well as they did last game, and the run game can be successful to just sustain drives, and Drake can get into a rhythm, hopefully we can do it early too. I feel like we have not been doing very well in opening drives or even the first quarter of games, but if this offense can get up to an early lead, I mean, it's not going to take a lot of points to beat this team, but it's going to take a couple scores at least. Like that's the hard part. It's like you don't need a lot,
I
but they're not going to give up
I'm
anything either.
I'm never gonna say we don't need a lot of points to speed Iowa because it seems like they score on us and they have been scoring this year. But
They
I get
have,
what you're
yeah.
saying. It's just I don't know. Even Brian Ferentz found a way to score points on Gophers.
That's true.
Shooty, I got a
Yeah.
question for you.
Yeah.
We all are, but we're all fond of the 2014 Gopher football team. We all think very highly of them. I just I always think of the jet sweep in KJ May in that Iowa game from the 52-14 beatdown we put on them, which was sadly 11 years ago now. Is there any way we bring it back this game?
The jet sweep.
Yeah.
Uh you know what? You know who I think would be great at the jet sweep?
Coy?
I I think Coy would be okay, actually, I think yes. I think he'd probably be the best option for the jet sweep. I guess if they do it, I feel like they do it with Lemecki. It just seems like
They
he would
run
be
it to
their
him a
guy.
lot.
They
Yeah.
run it to him a lot, but I think for the jet sweep, you need someone like a KJ, like a more shifty, sort of quick guy on his feet. And Lemecki's a great athlete, but I don't think he has really that speed that maybe Coy has, or maybe like a smaller, receiver
Right.
might have. But nevertheless, why not just try it? Because we haven't done anything like that, so why
I
not lump?
swear it works on them every year. I've seen other teams run it this year. I think Iowa State ran it, not for like a touchdown, but like they mix it in to just get around the ends. And I don't think Iowa's super slow or anything, but I'm just saying
Right.
Other teams do it. We should bring it back. Why not Kristen Hoskins? New
Yeah.
K's.
Or even like Logan
I'm
Loya. Like
sorry.
that
I
dude's
meant New K's.
shifty.
Danielle Hayes. Kristen Hawkins is gone. Yeah, Danielle Hayes, the new K's. Like PJ has spin on records and he's the most explosive guy with a football in his hand. Why not hand it to him already running
Right.
like around the end? That's not a tough play to teach. You just tell him like even if he doesn't understand the rest of the offense, I don't know that. He hasn't played yet, so there's got to be something not there. Like just hand him the ball. Malachi Coleman's really fast. Like I know he's more of a one cut and go guy, but like maybe if you use him as he's been getting more playing time, like to the wide side of the field. I don't know. I would just like to see us get some of these faster guys the ball in space, as every football coach would. But I'm just saying, don't sleep on the jet sweep. I'll DM Harbaugh.
Yeah.
What if you get your wish and you see Lemecki go in a jet sweep, but then you see him roll back to pass?
Oh boy. Hey, if it works, I'll more power to him. It does feel like, I'm trying to think. So we've gone back to a little bit of a tush push on 4th and short. Coy's role on offense is obviously out the window, but I was thinking about this. Isn't the perfect time to use Coy, like if you want to run like that little wildcat with 2 backs back there, like have Darius and Coy there? I don't know. That seems like he did that in high school. I don't understand why if you wanted him on offense, you don't go there. But clearly that ship has sailed as we thought it might. I feel like we try to tell people that it's not gonna go the way they think. People were expecting people were expecting a masterpiece, and instead it's kind of turned into like The Last Jedi for Star Wars fans out there. It was just like, wow, a lot of potential, and that wasn't anything what we wanted. But so we just move on from it.
But I also think it's good that he can just do his thing on defense like we need him to at the same time. Like,
yeah,
it is disappointing that, he didn't pan out the way some people maybe were. I don't know how it was supposed to work.
Do you think they still rep him in there at practice?
I got to imagine they do just to keep him, but I got to imagine ready. It's in, the install is probably a lot smaller. It's probably like key situations or specific plays. But this is, I feel like Iowa and Wisconsin are probably going to be the games you would see him in at this point. Like,
right.
Just to
and that's what I was going to say. Yeah. Like, why not? If you're Greg Harbaugh, why not just try to you don't have to go razzle dazzle or anything, but, just open the playbook a little bit, try something new and, see if you can catch them off guard to get a big play.
Right. No, Turnstnot have to beat Iowa at all costs. Skyuma, you're absolutely right. We are kind of skipping over the elephant in the room of PJ being 1-8 in so far, and Iowa's won 9 out of the last 10. Now, last time in Kinnick, go for W. I'm sure everybody accepts that result, and there won't be a play that'll probably be talked about over and over again from that game during the broadcast. But yeah, it is something that needs to be done because, he's going to be in year 10 next year. You got to start beating not just Iowa more consistently, but we've also only gotten to see, the fans have only gotten to see one of the major victories at home. We've only beat Wisconsin at home once, I believe, in PJ's tenure. So hopefully that's probably going to change again for a second time. But yeah, you got to start beating Iowa more consistently, and you just got to get those trophies a little bit more in the mix because otherwise when you do have those 7 to 8 win seasons, they just feel a little bit empty, like bad calories, to get there. You didn't really get the right stuff to feel good about it. So, yeah, Iowa's beatable. It's not an easy task, but they are beatable. And I don't know. I guess if you guys got anything else, you guys can go to your keys. I was wondering what you guys thought about the spread being at 8.5 or 8 when it opened.
I think that's a little too much because I don't think that they can just up and score like that. If anything, I could see like maybe a 3-4 point game, I just don't know how they're going to be able to score unless they literally just run it at will. And
I
I
was going to
I
say the
don't
second half last year.
yeah,
That's
like
all that
last
happened.
year. I hope that was a learning experience for PJ. I don't know, just like line up and hit the guy in front of you and just stop the run. It's really not rocket science. You mentioned, Kurt, that they're beatable. I absolutely think that they're beatable, and it's not like you need a special equation like you're going up against one of the blue bloods to try and outmaneuver them in this chess match. It's literally just do these things the right way, simply play football, and you can win this game. I think that we have the talent, certainly have the talent. It's just you got to put it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go ahead. You guys can go with your keys of the game.
Yeah, I can go first. I guess to kind of go off what you just said, like Iowa is beatable, but like they're not going to beat themselves either because they're the least penalized team in the country. Like they're like we talked about, they're so well coached that like the formula's there, but you kind of have to play your perfect game in a way, especially offensively, and then defensively, you got to be able to put up with that physical run game at the same time. So I guess the first key for this one is really just after that Nebraska win, just no letdowns. Like we can't come out slow. We can't come out, after a big win and think we accomplished anything. Like if anything, we got to play better than we did against Nebraska and kind of pick up where we left off. Because I was playing pretty well right now too. I mean, they took Indiana down to the wire. They just beat Penn State. They stomped Wisconsin. Like they're feeling pretty good about themselves, and they actually kind of deserve it, unlike Nebraska did. So at this point, just no letdowns. Like we have to beat them because they're not just gonna lose, if that makes any sense. The second key I have is just basic field position. I mean, this is going to could be an old school battle if it's just going to come down to a couple special teams plays. Tom Weston, he's been doing really well punting the football, but we got to be able to pin them deep and force their offense to march down the field, and they haven't really proven they can do that yet. So we can just keep them on their side of the field. We talked about the turnovers as well. It's gonna, if we can put ourselves in a short field to pick up some points for free, it's gonna have to happen. And if we can extend drives as well on fourth downs, like I don't know if that'll happen, just because Iowa I think is number one in the country in fourth down defense at this point too. So it's either going to be picking up fourth downs or just not being in those situations at all and just staying ahead of schedule. So yeah, field position is number 2. The third one is just win the race to 20 points. Because I went back and looked at this. Since 2022, Iowa is 24-2 when they score 20 points or more. They score less than 20 points, they're 7-14. So if we can beat them to 20 points, it doesn't sound like a lot, but against this defense, I think it's only given up 15. That might be what it takes. And in this game, 3 scores in this game is like getting to 35 or 40 in most games. So at the end of the day, though, we do go to Kinnick. It's been hell. Iowa wins 23-20.
Ah. Hey, you took the over. All of you guys are talking about these points, and I was like, where's he going with this score prediction? I thought you were going to say like 12-10. Nicholas Garrett, but Mark G can't throw, so we will win. Row the boat. Hey, that should be a huge advantage, and I hope you're right. It's just stopping the run, like easy but difficult, because
Easy but
Yeah.
difficult.
Do you want to go, Shuddy?
I'll go. Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, I agree with you, Max. I think number one is going to be special teams. Iowa, it seems that special teams is a huge reason why they win their games because they're able to flip the field. They always have dynamic returners, can kick the ball. They attempt 67-yard field goals, but that I'd like if they'd attempted that on us, and they'd probably smoke it for some reason. But yeah, I think punting the ball, we have to be able to flip the field as best as we can. We cannot have any missed field goals because I don't know if the opportunity to score many points will be there against this defense. So, if we're unable to get the ball into the end zone, if we can just score 3 points with ease and not have any misses, that would be big time. So that's number one. Number two, try and win the turnover game. I think that's going to be a big way and reason that you'll stay in this game. If we give the ball up, I mean, I just think that Iowa is one of the best teams at taking advantages of those situations, whether that's getting the ball turned over or, if they're given a chance with short field, they'll capitalize on that if they can. So try and win the turnover margin battle. And then lastly, just be physical up front. I'm not saying that our line is going to be better than this defensive line. That's great. But you can still try and be as physical as you can, get up there and hit somebody and try and get a push to at least give Darius and Boy a chance to get some yardage on the play. I just wanted to be like 3rd and 2 and be comfortable with our backs being able to get that first down on a run. I know we saw it a little better last week, but if we could do that this week just to get that push, it'd be great. So linemen on both sides of the ball have to be ready to play. With that being said, it's just one of those things, fellas, where we just haven't seen it much, over the past several years with PJ Fleck, unfortunately. So it's I gotta believe it or see it to believe it. I know it happened last time on the road, first since 1999, but I'm just not that confident. I think the Hawkeyes win 20-17.
Wow. Now this puts a lot of pressure on me, huh? First of all, this isn't a key to the game. This is a devastating thing. I'm at a wedding next week. During this game, I needed the 11 a.m. kickoff. I was begging for it. It's a 2:30 kickoff, so I don't know. I'll be on my phone a lot. I'm sorry to the lovely new wedded couple that's about to happen. But anyway, so that sucks for me. Here's my keys to the game. Defensively, like I said, you got to probably get 2 turnovers, but at least 1, because I just think if you're out there for long stretches, the whole line of Iowa is just going to wear you down. We just don't have enough bodies that we play up front. So, I know we rotate in Carter Mans, Jackson Howard, but D tackle especially doesn't seem like we rotate in a whole lot. So, and in tandem with that, like, obviously, but you got to get them in 3rd and longs because that's when you can mix in like the Rashawn Lawrences on your squad and get, Devin Eastern a little bit of a break here and there. So, yeah, easier said than done, but getting turnovers and just, not giving all of them 3rd and 3s and shorter, like at least make it where they're going to have to throw for some of them. Secondly, you got to let Drake throw the ball downfield. I would love to be able to chunk them and whatnot, but I just don't expect us to dominate up front like we did against Nebraska. But I do think the O-line showed enough to give us a little bit of a help there. So, yeah, let Drake throw the ball down the field because you're going to need to get chunk plays against this defense. Thirdly, keep the ball away from their dangerous returner, Weegan. He's a great returner. He's already got a couple of returns. I don't know if it's just one touchdown, but like the Rutgers game, he had several returns that were absolutely electric. So that didn't get housed. So keep the ball away from him. I thought I was going to pick a loss, but the more we talk about this game, fellas, give me the Gophers 24-23. That's right. That's right. I threw you all. You all thought I'm usually the negative one, and I came up. Gopher W. Guess what? I don't know what that sound effect was. Guess what? Last time the Gophers won, I was the only one to pick us to win. I'm picking us again. Gophers 23. Or I'm sorry, Gophers 24, Iowa 23. Floyd's coming home. Ferentz will be crying again. It's going to be fun. Should be a fun physical football game.
It.
So
Right on,
tell
Kurt.
them to delay their wedding because Golden Gophers take priority. So I would, and I will. The wedding's in Illinois. Like, they're not Minnesota fans. They're not Minnesota people. They're from Illinois, live in Illinois. I'll be traveling again. I just got out of Illinois. I'm back in Illinois this weekend. Yeah. Anyone else want to hear me complain about it? I will be betting. So is this fake fandom? Here's what I do. Especially because Iowa seems like I'm always in a state where I can bet on the game. I don't know how that keeps working out, but it just is what it is. To protect myself from raging, I will put money on Iowa money line just to make myself feel better if we lose. Is that fake fandom? It's purely a
It's just
precautionary.
hedging your emotions.
I think it's a psychological thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked in New Orleans.
Take my money. If I got to throw down $20 for this Gopher W, I'll do it. Not 25, but 20, I'll do
it. Yeah. It's a win-win, sort of.
Well, it's a win-loss, but it's
it's kind of you're either rooting to lose money or rooting to just be in pain. I don't know.
I'm rooting to lose money.
I don't know.
That's how much the Gophers mean to me. I already placed one parlay very early last Saturday for this week's games. I don't remember what was on it. I just like $5. Here's 6-leg parlay. I win 300 sick, and I moved on, drove home. But great transition.
That's right.
Caillou Pod parlay of the week. I got screwed last week. I just want to say, USC, if you just stop decapitating yourself out there on the field, that's the easiest cover ever. I know you couldn't stop the run. You don't play defense when you're not on the West Coast. Okay, fine. But their offense had no trouble until they pull out a trick play trying to have the receiver pass in the pouring rain, fumbles it, and gosh, it was just I watched the whole thing because I'm like, they're going to cover, right? Yeah, down 10, they got the ball back. No, they turn it over on downs, ball game. I was like, you have to be kidding me. Then the other one that was going to be my lock was Ole Miss at Georgia. They didn't end up covering either. So I got both of those games that I felt so good about wrong when it looked like that it was the right pick all game. So that hurts. And I have no idea what I'm going to do. Well, I do have an idea. I don't know how it's going to turn out because I feel good about this week's pick as well.
I did peek at your pick, Kurt. I didn't last week and it didn't work out, so I did peek at it this week, and I like it. If that's what you're going to stick with.
It is.
Yeah, I'm just going to go first, fellas, because I just need something fun, okay? So we're going to look at Thursday night, and it's the battle of the bottom of the barrel here. South Alabama is on the road at Georgia State. Both are 1-6, 0-3 in the Sun Belt Conference. I'm just going to go with the over. The total is at 55.5.
Did you check?
Give me just points. It's going to be 68 degrees in Atlanta, Georgia. It's great football weather.
Okay.
It's on ESPN2. Tune in, 6:30 p.m. I'm talking kick returns. I'm talking long passes, everything on Thursday night.
See, I think you always do fun ones, Shitty. I feel like your picks are all these fun, obscure ones for the most part, but I like it.
Hey, there's money in the crumbs, right?
That's right. I'm going, guys, great rivalry. Sparty is struggling. They're at home against the Michigan Wolverines, who I think kind of have started finding themselves post USC loss. I know it's a rivalry game that's supposed to scare you. I don't know what it's at now. I got them at -13. Wolverines -13 at Sparty, who is probably going to be getting rid of our old pal Rossi here if things keep going poorly for them. So, but yeah, I like the Wolverines a lot. I think they can win by 2 touchdowns easily. So, taking Michigan -13.
Yeah, I did see the current line is up to 14 or 14 and a half, but I think it's still well
Yeah.
within reason to pick the Wolverines there. For me, I had a few written down that were I thought I felt good about, but then the more I looked into, just felt scary for whatever reason. So I'm just not going to overthink it. I'm just going to fade the deadest dog. We're taking Oregon at home
I
minus
thought
33 and a
about that one.
half over
Yeah.
the Badgers. Wisconsin
Nice.
just Ohio State was like jogging and
Yeah.
just took
I
them
think they've
apart at
given
Camp
up.
Randall. So
Yeah.
take Oregon. And we just saw what Oregon did at Rutgers, putting up like 750 yards. Another former Gopher defensive coordinator, not sure how he still has a job,
Yeah.
Rob Smith.
Yeah.
You just gave up 750 yards. Yeah, it's to Oregon,
Dude.
but man,
And it was
that's tough.
average, like, I think they averaged almost 12 yards a carry, too. And I know
Yeah.
Rutgers defense is terrible and Wisconsin's is a lot better, but yeah, I don't see how they just wake up and all of a sudden are ready for Oregon on the road. Like, it doesn't make sense. So I like that pick
Yeah,
a lot. And I think Oregon is still
Wisconsin.
trying to like prove everything. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, they gotta.
Yeah. So I think
Yeah,
they'll
Wisconsin's in
come
the
out.
middle of their hell right now. Like,
McIntosh says that they have full confidence in Fickle, even though the results aren't what they want, and he's back next year. So, which is a wise decision. I think we can all agree with that. That Luke Fickle has
He's
shown
the
tremendous
answer.
promise. He has shown the true colors of what Wisconsin can be and what they are. A steaming pile of crap. But that's the best it gets for them. So he's got to stay.
Yeah.
fair.
I like it. So if you are all on the road or outside of the state of Minnesota that can bet, put in your money because we got a winner. And yeah, one day we'll get a promo code for all of you so that you can win more money. We'll see next season. Anyways,
hit that like and subscribe. Share with a friend.
That's right. Let's get some picks going, fellas. Here, we're starting in the SEC. Ole Miss is at Oklahoma. They're giving Oklahoma 4.5 points here. I think I'm going to go with the Rebels. I think they'll cover that, and I think probably win that game.
Yeah, it's like it all comes down to how sad is Ole Miss going to be after that loss to Georgia. Like, do they bounce back quickly? I think I'll still take Ole Miss just because I think their defense is still good enough to like hold up against Oklahoma and keep it close. So I'll take the Rebels as well, but that one scares me.
Is Mateer healthy now? Like, if so, I don't mind taking Oklahoma, but like, I don't know. Like, I was shocked Oklahoma was favored in this, so it's kind of reverse psychology, and I don't like doing this, but I feel like Vegas just knows something that I don't. So I'm just gonna take the Sooners because to me, I thought Ole Miss would be favored.
That's fair enough. All right, next, back to the Big Ten. Northwestern is at Nebraska, and they're giving the old Huskers a 7.5 points after an absolute beatdown against the Gophers. With that being said, I'm going to have to go with the Huskers probably. They're at home against Northwestern, who has been improving, and I think is getting to be a solid team. I just think that Nebraska will get it done.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, Northwestern can run the football. Like, they've been good at their O-line's pretty solid. They play good defense. I'm really tempted, but I'm with you. I'm going to go Huskers, but I think it's close for a while, and then they score to kind of pull away to push it to that 2-score game. But I do think Northwestern is going to hang around for a long time.
Yeah, I agree with you guys too. I'm going to take Nebraska. This is like it felt like their season was on the cusp of being something great as far as Oklahoma or as far as Nebraska fans were concerned. And then we just tore that to shreds. So they've got to respond big against Northwestern.
Yeah. Good luck to them. All right. Now we're going back to the SEC. Missouri is at Vanderbilt. They're giving Vanderbilt 2.5 points. Boy, this one's a pretty interesting game. These two teams in the SEC have been coming along and they're looking pretty good. I wasn't a real believer in Vanderbilt, but I feel like last week they showed me otherwise. Give me Missouri. I don't know why. I just think
we're all in on Missouri then.
I don't know if it can hold. I liked what I saw with Missouri against Alabama. I think they're a pretty good team, and I'm just not a full believer. It's kind of like the Kansas. Remember like a few years ago, a couple years ago. I wasn't there. Anyway,
I totally get it, and I just don't think like Vandy had one kind of like it started off close and then Bama pulled away. That was like honestly their best performance because I don't think their other wins like LSU has really struggled against any decent team they've played. So I'm like I know it's unfair to do this because it's Vandy, but I don't know who they've beaten really yet. Like I haven't seen it, and I do think Missouri. I mean, kind of the same thing. I guess they played Bama close and lost, but I don't know. It just looks better, I guess, to the naked. I don't know. They're both good teams, I think, to be honest. I just like Missouri, and I picked them to make the playoffs, so I'm going to stick with it.
Yeah. Missouri actually did have a pretty scary game last weekend, too.
Yeah.
They went to overtime, but...
Yeah.
Classic look ahead.
Right. All right. This one actually is probably the most shocking line to me coming up here, fellas. But in the Big 12, BYU is at Iowa State, and they're giving Iowa State 3.5 points at home. I know it's at Iowa State, and that can be a tough place to play, but BYU has looked pretty solid, and I know Iowa State's a solid team, but they've kind of came back down to reality a little bit, seems like recently. I'm going to go with BYU. I think that they can at least come within 3.
Yeah. I'm going to go BYU as well, but I think Iowa State is getting healthier. I think they had lost some pieces, and I think if I read X correctly, I think they're getting some pieces back. But, it is an emotional letdown spot for BYU after a close kind of ish game against the rival, but a big win last week. So I kind of get it, but I'm with you. I just think even if they lose, it'll be closer than that. So I'm going to take BYU.
Yeah, it definitely gives you pause that Iowa State's over a field goal favorite after what we've seen out of BYU. But yeah, for that exact reason, like it is a huge letdown spot. But we saw what Iowa State looked like against Cincinnati, and I think BYU can probably do the same thing and try to keep it close and still play good defense. So I will also take the Cougars. I don't think BYU is a school that goes out and parties much after these big wins. So I don't have to worry about that.
Right.
All right. Going back to the Big Ten, Illinois is going all the way over to Washington. They're giving Washington 4.5 points. This one's a little tricky because I feel like, Kurt, you were saying it. Washington might be a sleeper in the Big Ten. I feel like they kind of let go of some games they shouldn't. Illinois is a solid team. I feel like they need this win to just stay a little relevant for the playoffs, being that they're 5-2 as well. So I'm going to go. This one's tough. I'm going to go with Illinois. I'm just feeling like they can cover that. I don't feel great about it because it is hard to go to the West Coast.
That's the only thing that gives me pause. Because Washington, I've watched a lot of Washington football, I feel like, this year because I thought they were going to be a surprise team, and they have great offensive pieces. I just feel like they are constantly looking for a home run, and there's just stretches of the game where they just all of a sudden just don't move the ball, and it's just so sporadic on offense. I don't trust them. I know Illinois' defense isn't as strong as they would like it to be, and they're traveling out west, but I believe they're coming off a bye, I think. So I'm going to take the Illini.
Yeah, I'm going to take Illinois as well. Washington just got kind of beat up by Michigan too, so a fresh Illinois.
I just don't trust Washington. I think next year they could be really good. But
yeah.
All right, and lastly, a really solid game in the SEC. Texas A&M is at LSU, and they're giving Texas A&M 2.5 points here, fellas. Boy, oh boy. I think if you're LSU, being that you're 5-2 and you really had playoff aspirations, and if you're the coach there, Brian Kelly, and you want to keep your job, I think he might be on the hot seat after this. I know it's not really fair, but I just think that is the case. I think he has to win this game. So because of that, I'm going to go with LSU. He's going to have to get them fired up to win this game if they want to be in the playoff conversation and if Brian Kelly wants to stay at LSU in this job. So give me the Tigers.
I think I'm going to stick with A&M. And LSU is a very difficult place to win, so it does give me pause. And A&M's defense the last 2 weeks doesn't look as good as I thought it was, but LSU has had their own struggles on offense, so I'm going to tell myself that A&M was looking ahead last week and that they're ready for the Tigers, so I'm going to take A&M to get the job done.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take Texas A&M as well. I was really back and forth on this one because, going into Death Valley at night is a really tough place to win, but Texas A&M kind of feels a little bit different under Mike Elko. And LSU's just looked kind of funky this year. I don't know what's up with the offensive line, and they were without their starting linebacker last week too, Whit Weeks. I'm not sure if he'll be back either, but Texas A&M can run the football.
Yeah, and I think LSU lost their left tackle for this game, I believe, as well. So, is Brian Kelly the one that eats grass? I think he is. Doesn't there? I think there's the clip of him eating it off. I don't know if that's an everyday thing, every game thing.
He eats grass? Oh, like at the stadium?
I thought so.
That would make sense.
Wait.
I guess.
Oh, you know who did that though? Les Miles. Les Miles always did that at LSU. So I wonder if I just saw a clip today of Brian Kelly eating something off the ground, and maybe it was AI, but Les Miles is the one that always chewed on grass. He's right at it. I mean, he's already been gone from LSU for a while, hasn't he? But
yeah,
he was there for a long time.
Yeah. All right. Well, fellas, that's going to do it for another episode of Sky U Pod. As always, please like and subscribe to our channel, which can be found on YouTube, X, and wherever you like to listen to your podcast. Be sure to check out our partners' website, thecollegehuddle.com, for more podcasts and all things college football. Thanks again, as always.
Get that pig.
Let's bring back Floyd. We need Floyd back. The trophy case is getting dusty. Let's bring him home. Have a great night, Gopher fans. We love you. See you next time.